Hey everybody, this is Joseph Brooks. We're here at Red Velvet Studios here in Los Angeles, California. And our special guest today is Kelly Vargas.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about what she's got going on. So you were just telling me about how there's this thing in music where it's like, I don't know why it's a thing, but you turn 25, you turn whatever age, and now you're too old to do music.
Mm-hmm.
How old is too old to make music or to make it a music?
There's no age. Are you serious? What's your passion? Why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making it to begin with? A lot of people do it different. I did it because it was like therapeutic. Like that made me happy as a child. Like I was just like distracting myself and I was like singing and I was like, oh, I can actually sing and hit these notes. And I don't know, for me, it just felt natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got to 25 and I was like, I'm old. I need to stop. No, it's just
it's
natural. I wake up, I'm singing. I'm in the shower, I'm singing. I'm doing my makeup, I'm singing. Like it's just always in me.
It's not going to go away anytime soon. Yeah. It's not like one day you wake up and it's like, it's over now.
Like throw the towel.
Yeah. Like if you have a passion for music, it's not going to stop based on your age or whatever.
A lot of people get pressured and I'm sure it's like traumatizing and they want to stop at a certain point. But if you don't feel like you're forcing it and it's so natural, like you can't stop something like that. That's always going to be in you.
Blonde in a Car. Have you seen her?
Woo! I like the girls who do drugs. Girls with cigarettes in the back of the club.
Yeah. It's like a whole thing.
Oh, I should. That's inspirational.
A proof of what we're talking about.
You said you're a producer. Like I produce myself. And like I'm in a lot of sessions where I'm like, a lot of the times I feel like engineers are not given enough credit.
Give the engineers some love out there.
I love mentioning the fact that engineers make or break a song.
Definitely very underrated, underrepresented. Shout out my guy. Like, this is the reason this is good. You know what I mean?
So engineer makes or breaks an artist or a record or a song. Most of the time, they're the ones that like make the final decision. Along with the producer, I work as a songwriter myself as well. Like I do my own artist project. But when I'm in these sessions, like for myself or for others, like engineers, like you need a good one to really be proud of that product, I've been here in LA for 4 years, so it took me a while, and I still feel like I'm finding the right producer. And like, shout out to the producers I'm working with. Like, I love them right now, and who I've worked with before. But that's like to me, it's like a very like an intimate relationship. Like, you got to trust them with like a lot. And I feel like right now I have that core like team that I can go to. I'm still developing it. I have a mix engineer. Great friend. I like to make it, now I'm starting to understand that like these relationships are not just professional. Like you want them to be also like your best friends. Like you want them to be part of your lives regularly and it just feels less forced.
A producer can kind of represent a time period or like a certain sound. These 5 records are my Quincy Jones records, and it's like that's that sound for that artist. But then you might move into a different era later on and you're like, all right, this is the sound of this era. And I think that that's a pretty natural progression. Taylor Swift, like for her early stuff is like different producers, but now it's like the Jack Antonoff stuff, So
that's true. And I feel like a lot of people are resistant towards like change. But if you guys listen to my music, I'm multi-genre.
There you go.
I'm the queen of like, you're listening to a house song and the next one's a dance hall. And you're like, oh, this is in English. Suddenly it's in Spanglish. Like, I love to not feel like I'm boxed in at all. Like, that's just been who I am as a person and also in music. It's fun.
And of course, for Latin American Heritage Month, we had to have...
I had to tell him that. It's okay.
That's
why... Don't tell us at school.
Yeah, of course. That's why we had her as the guest. Long Islands.
They always ask me if I have the accent. And I'm like, no.
You don't have that.
No.
The Long Island.
The talking and the coffee. Like, it's just...
Coffee.
It's like, to me, it's like you have to go out of the way to speak like that. I just... Yeah, no. There's nothing wrong with it. It's cool. I think my dad has it. My dad is like, he's like, water. I'm like, okay, water. Like, it's like, I always felt the need to like dress up, even if I was going down to the deli, if I was going to like Target, if I was going to CVS, because it's like a walking runway. Like, you never know. But I think that's just like the idea of like how everything's so like, boom, like everything's just like down the block. Everything's like on top of you in New York because it's so small that you have to like dress to impress,
A good sense of style doesn't have to be all designer. Sometimes it's like the absence of a fashion sense to overcompensate with like head to toe Gucci, head to toe this brand, that brand, designer brand. Occasionally I like it, but for the most part, it's almost like you couldn't figure out what to wear. So you're like making up for it with the brand.
I think a lot with fast fashion is also what like dilutes fashion. We're in the economy where like, you know, a lot of people are just like looking to get the cheapest thing they can get. So they're going on like these like storefronts or like these websites where they can get like the luxury looking things for cheaper. And it's like a lot of like copy paste. And I'm sorry. Like that's just the fact that fashion is like even like small brands and like small companies or family run. They're like all like small businesses. There you go. They are expensive for a reason. For a reason. I'm not talking down on that. And so it's like, if you can afford it, that's awesome. But if you can't, it's like...
In LA, part of the issue that divides things up versus how it is in New York is the car culture.
I grew up in Long Island and like, surprisingly, like I had a car like since I was 15. I've been driving since I was 15. Like that was just like how everyone that I grew up around, like they were driving to high school, like they were going to like the mall or whatever. Like we had a huge car culture out there. Like don't get me wrong, like, and then you know that's just like not really something you hear from New York City.
Well, I feel like that's because you were on Long Island. Yeah.
My last single was released in April. It was How It Feels. It was with a duo called Tripbox.
I could be going out of my mind. I love how it just feels when it comes to having you day and night. Won't you come and sing my life? I love how it just feels.
It was an awesome song that I did with Adrian, who's an awesome songwriter out here in LA. And it's like a house pop. House pop? One of my favorite songs.
House pop duo trio.
Yeah, I know. It is a lot. Like, that's the thing is like a lot of like my songs are like, I've written that one like 6 months ago. I have one that came out like, I wrote a year ago that's coming out in October. Music takes a long time to write and release. You write the song, you produce it, you mix and master it, and then like it takes
It can take a while.
12 months to release. It's insane. You forget about it, right?
No, well, because people think like you hear a song that somebody put out this month and it feels like to you like they made it this month or whatever. It's like, nah, they might have made that 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. All right, everybody get ready for my single. And then people get excited once you drop it. Yeah. And they're like, wow, what else are you going to do? And then if
I
you
hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. It's like, did you listen to what I just released? Why didn't that not satisfy you? I'm sorry, it's insane.
That's the thing, though.
And it's crazy because it's like, why is that the first thing rather than like what inspired you to make the song?
It's kind of like almost like people want to test you or something. It's like, all right, you a one-hit wonder?
Everybody was trying to be like, oh, she a one-hit wonder, da da da. But it's like, now what? 2-hit wonder?
Here's
Why is
another
everyone
one.
so angry? Like, relax, bro. Also, like, people just have short attention spans. People will listen to a track if it's like, or an artist or anything, if it's like a lot of hype, a lot of clout. With bigger artists, I feel like people try to challenge them more because they're like, oh, like, show us what you got, you know? Yeah.
Proving yourself thing. Yeah. Once you got your core people, you got your core people, which is cool. But it can take a little bit to get there.
So I did like a monthly trial drop this year with 3 songs. January was BFY. February was Crush on Valentine's Day. It was like a lovey-dovey song. And then I did How It Feels April. A lot of my friends are like in the industry because I'm still starting off, you know, like building the audience, doing like more single drops than like EP albums. Last year I released Consentida, which was like my first track that was playlisted at a Spotify editorial, and it's like 98.5 streams right now on Spotify. It's like one of my most streamed ones, which was awesome. And then I was like, how do I keep that momentum going, you know? And for me, it was like, okay, keep the music going, like keep the marketing, the PR will come with it. And I did do it. I just felt like I also have a lot to release now. And I stopped after April because I was like, there's some personal stuff that was going on in life. And then I was like, what, rather than just like dropping a lot, which is nothing wrong with it, I just felt like there should be like an intention almost a bit behind it as well. So I kind of took a break. Now I have one, a few coming out this year. I'm not going to say details, but yeah, I'm looking to like pick up the momentum again, hopefully to, you know, have all these awesome unreleased songs that are kind of just sitting in the shelf right now and that have a lot of potential to be released. So
you put effort into your visuals, and putting effort into the visuals is a really big deal now because without even listening to a thing, if I looked at the profile and I didn't click anything, I just look at the profile, people are inherently gonna, oh, what's here? Huh, maybe I'll give it a listen, you know? So it's like the whole book by its cover thing, but like it kind of is a thing.
Yeah.
And so that's like branding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm like very like nitpicky when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like that's actually like there's a pro to it because then you hear that, feedback, but then there's a con because like you're so perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this is not good enough.
You don't want to mess with it. Yeah.
You're like always like, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. But I feel like at a point you have to kind of just know there's a balance between, okay, you can be hard on yourself and like always want to be better, or you just release the song. Damn, like it should not be like, I don't know. That's just like an artist thing. Like we really second guess ourselves sometimes and we're like, is this the next song? Like, is this it? But like if you made it and you're all at this like, and it's mastered and mixed and everything, like release it.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
there's a time where it's
yeah.
like, just put the thing out.
Yeah.
Just put the song out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's ready.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can drag your feet on that for forever.
Yeah.
And like, oh, maybe we should change it. Oh, maybe we should do this. Oh, maybe we should do that. And then you end up with nothing.
As an independent artist, we're always at that pressure of like, what's the song that's going to make it? What's the song that's going to get you that viral moment? I'm a business. Like you're a business. Like we are at the end of the day trying to sell to a market, to we're a brand. So it is important. But I think music, it's like hard to kind of mush them together sometimes because like music is so personal and like so in me. Like I could do music all my life without thinking about money if I didn't have to. Like that's just something I love to do. So you have to kind of like force yourself sometimes as an artist to be like, I can think as a brand, but sometimes like I want to release it. Like that's just like something I put my heart and soul into it.
Yeah. I don't think every song has to be,
moneymaker.
Do both.
Yeah. And even then, like the song that has like been the biggest for me, Consentida, which means spoiled in Spanish. That was like my first Latin title song. So it was like all across playlists. Like I would not get accepted into like only American based. And surprisingly enough, it only had like 2 sentences in Spanish, that whole song. Only 2 sentences. Maybe even 1 sentence if you were to consider how short it was. It was the most listened one. It was like the one that I was kind of like, that's kind of risky. Like I only release English music. Like, big artists like Kali Uchis are starting to like release songs that are like in both English and Spanish. Maybe this is a trend that we can kind of like push forward for us smaller artists. But I did it, and that was like the biggest one that's been hitting. And I was surprised. I was like, that's the big cue of like, do what you like to do and don't feel like you're put in a box to have to do certain things to be able to go viral, or I don't know,
Like making the music for the trend or making the music for the algorithm.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's any kind of difficulty where you start to get a little bit boxed in where it's like, you are for the Latin market, you are for that market,
Yeah. No, always. Honestly, sometimes I feel like that push, even in the Latin industry, like they're just, I've had like bookers be like, oh, you're a Latin artist. And I send them my music. They're like, this is not, we were thinking Shakira, we're thinking like straight, like Latina, you're like kind of American pop. And I was like, but there's Spanish in it. And they're like, I don't think that could cut it. So like I've been told sometimes I'm not Latin enough. And from certain producers, like they also kind of see me and they think like I get mistaken a lot as like not even Latina sometimes as like my aesthetic.
We got to put more nylon guitar in the songs for you, more castanets.
Yeah. No, it's like not even just the music. It's also like my appearance. Like sometimes they're just like, oh, like they don't think I'm Latina.
What, they think you need to dress like more?
No, just like a lot of people forget that Latinos can be like different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Like anyone can be a Latino, black, white, mixed, indigenous. People will see and they'll just like assume something else and they'll be like, oh, like a lot of it is like stereotypes. People think like,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, when you think Mexican, a lot of people think like certain type of person. It's like anyone can be Mexican at the end of the day. I'm Costa Rican American, born and raised in New York. So like I do have that Latin side, but I do have a huge American side to me.
It's not like you used a different stage name because I hear like Vargas and I'm like, okay, I'm
Latin.
like, yeah.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah, like that's the vibe I got. But everybody does their own thing.
Music is all about manifestation.
Oh yeah, well, and I've been trying to do like some press and stuff like that. I feel like that's like a whole thing, you know, like artists, especially independent artists, getting PR and getting press and interviews and stuff. Yeah, it gets expensive and all that stuff.
Funding it ourselves. That's like the big thing about independent artists. People forget that. Being independent is also like very beautiful. I don't know, very freeing.
Freedom comes
A
with
price.
And so you want all the freedom. You want to decide how it goes, who you're gonna work with, when you're gonna work with them, all that stuff. I don't want a label. I don't want somebody else telling me what to do. And it's like, well, then, honey, you better get out the checkbook because, like, you're the one who's gonna do that. Yeah. So it's a double-sided thing.
Or you get people to fund you.
Yeah.
Like
well, investors, whatever. Like there's people out there.
Like consistency is key. Consistency is key, and like the more you put out, the better you're gonna get.
You learn something each time you do it, and then the next time you're like, "What could I do better?" The more you do it, it's the repetition. The more I've done it, the better I get. Yeah,
that's me with performing. Performing has like become such a natural thing. Interestingly enough, I need to get better at making content. So like that's something that actually makes me think and be like, I just need to do exactly what I'm doing with performing with content. Stop overthinking it.
Yeah.
Just literally go up to camera and go for it, I'm going to say that the connections and the talent is like where it's at, and everything just kind of falls into place. And then the passion, like I love to just write and sing.
They just don't want just whatever. Like people are really craving like the talent because we've seen both sides of it where it's like the hyper talented to the like not so talented. And now I feel like people are kind of at a moment right now where they want that in live performance. If you can perform or if you can sing well live, like I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. Manifestation is happening every single day, every single moment, and people forget to even label it as that. Think of someone moving from LA, a transplant, from any other state, pursuing their career. That's manifestation. Because at the end of the day, you're coming to a city with the intention of succeeding in whatever your brand, entrepreneurship, or your dream is. So a lot of people have a plan, but some people come with like literally like me. I came to LA with no job. And I was just like, I'm coming here for music. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to manifest it. And that's like a very common story. You got to put yourself in these situations, know that you're going to do it, sell it to the people, believe in yourself, and get better. And that's how manifestation happens. Everyone has to be delusional.
All the very famous people that you know, all the super successful people you know, they were very delusional. Like the act of thinking that you're going to be this thing or you're going to do that thing, it takes a sense of delusion. Because then you're not overthinking everything.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves back when we're overthinking things or that we put limitations on ourselves.
Yeah,
so
negativity.
The delulu will get you through. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's just like a lot of negativity. And listen, like it's normal for us musicians to be like in survival mode. Starving artists, as people are saying, like, you're making ends meet. You're having to work all these like, full-time jobs, a day job. Like, oh, you're not a real musician if you're working a 9 to 5. No, you are. You just aren't there yet. And like, you can be honest. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I have to remind myself, I'm actually a freelancer. So I don't work a day job. Like, I work gig-based and it's taking me a long time to get there and it's not easy. And even then, like, that's like an achievement in itself because a lot of us have to work like for a boss that's like paying us bi-weekly, like 9 to 5. Like even that itself, it's like a manifestation. As long as you're making money and you're doing what you need to do, making ends meet, and you're making the music, the passion that you're inspired from, just keep going at it. Like there's no reason to second guess yourself and put buts and ands. Just go for it. Yeah.
We don't need to dog people who have a 9 to 5. Like,
no,
you have a job.
Absolutely not. No.
You're a responsible adult.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
No, that's not me. Like, if you need a job, like in a 9 to 5, that's beautiful itself. Like, some people like that. And that's like, oh, that's not like nothing wrong with it.
Either way.
Yeah. A lot of people do think there's something wrong with it. Because like, oh, like, that's like, you're not really fully in music. But no, No,
because I think that if you can afford to live here, like as long as you're eating and you're healthy and you're happy, like whatever. Like maybe you reinvest that into something else. Maybe you're in a transition, but I don't think it's cool to like judge people.
No, me neither. Nah. I just like put myself in this like mental space of like, I need to get out. That was just me because like I felt sucked from it, like corporate. Like I've done a corporate job.
Well, it sucks. Yeah.
I've done a corporate job.
I know what you mean.
I was just like, I remember just being like, oh my God, I'm good, my soul. And then I just felt like I needed to get out of it. And that's what I put my mind to it. I was in New York at the time because New York is expensive, more than LA. I will say that. I put myself in the mindset of like, I'm getting out of this. I will not do it. It took me like average 3.5 years, I would say, to become freelance.
Okay, so let's just say you have this job. While you have that job, like be reinvesting or like creating the profiles or creating the resume where you can transition, be like, now I have an agency, now I can be my own boss, or now I'm signed up on freelancing websites and whatever, you know. And then you've got the experience, or maybe you build a portfolio or something like that, where you've got some reviews, examples of your work and all that stuff. So then you can be like, hey, I can work more flexibly and work for myself, or I can freelance, you know? So,
but you do that as well as a producer, right? It's nice.
Oh, all the producing is freelance, you know? So like I make content and I work with different artists in the studio all the time. And then from doing that, I get new clients. I get people who hit me up, you know? And it's spontaneous. I never know. I never know who's going to send me an email or whatever, you know?
So, no, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Social media gets you jobs. A lot of jobs, for sure.
Why am I not getting gigs, or why am I not getting opportunities? It's like, you need to put yourself out there. Don't sit there and act like you're God's gift.
Like, if you're not being invited to the table, make the table. Like, why do you need to be invited? You can be the inventor.
It's super important to create community, I think.
You're doing that.
Exactly.
I am a singer-songwriter. I write my own music, but I also write for other people. And I always advocate for the fact that if you are a singer and an artist, to learn how to speak at least the language of production. I produce myself. I don't really like to advertise that because like I'm not like the sole producer, the executive producer of a record or something. I'm always like the co-producer, but I do know language behind that. And I think that's entered a realm, a world, a dimension that a lot of producers make very vocal about it. They're like, you're different. Like you are saying these like vocabulary that I would normally not hear from an artist. And it's sad to me. I think a lot of people just need to be open to learning the tech side behind it, because like your music is going to be transformed in a whole nother level. Like if I'm able to go to a vocal engineer and be like, hey, like throw some reverb, delay, compressor, add like a lower octave, a little altar boy, and just like add a little isotope on it, like vocal synth, like that's a whole nother way of walking into a room and just like singing on mic and then having them full control, like just decide that for you, or a producer to do it for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like if that's what you decide, but knowledge is bliss, you know, like the more you know, I think the more you can shape your sound.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women as well in the industry I think we need more women in tech and more women in production. And I think like that's just something I've been very advocate for. And I think it's helped my artistry and my brand a lot.
There's such a small percentage and it's growing, which is cool, because for such a long time, it was like less than 5%, you know, women engineers or women producers. But that's starting to change. So that shift is
I love
good.
that.
Yeah.
I also went to Berkeley for songwriting. I did a bit production. So like I was taught. So I think I had that privilege. But like you can go on YouTube. If you have money, hire a tutor, like hire like a producer that can teach you all of that. But people just have to be open to it. A lot of us think like, I'm just the songwriter, I'm just the artist. No, you can be the songwriter and know production knowledge and language. And that's something that I just think like needs to be talked more.
It's only going to enhance what you're already doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I also think I love to just like sit and like make a little silly demo. I'm like Ableton. I'm an Ableton girl. But yeah, that would be my advice. Also to just be yourself. Don't feel pressured to be anyone else. I know it's really, that's like easy said than done. Like I still have to like a lot of times remind myself that, but the older you get.
Well, because I'm so inspired by this one. I like this one. I like that one. I like that one. It's like, put you there somewhere, you know, like.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's like also like sitting with yourself like alone and just like, I know that's like intense, but being like, who are you? You know, not in front of people, not in front of your parents, not in front of your friends, not in front of your boyfriend, girlfriend, not in front of your husband, wife, like just be in a room by yourself and literally ask yourself, who are you? And then if you're an artist, put that in your music, you know, but collaboration is also beautiful and I advocate for it. Like all the collaborations I've ever done has been the best thing in the world, has been like something I have to been like eased into it because I was like, my art is my baby. Like, why should I give this to this random like duo, like Tripbox that's gonna like, no, like that was like one of my favorite EDM songs that I wrote, How It Feels. And like they turned it into this like beautiful baby. Like that was through collaboration. I think we have to know how to like identify who we are as an artist, but also be open to collaboration and growth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like openness and yeah. You're being flexible about it where, you might have an initial idea, but then you're blending that with what they have going on and then it creates this whole new thing, So just because you have the initial idea, you have the initial thought, but like that could go anywhere, and
I agree.
And like there's freedom in like letting go.
You also learn from other people.
Yeah. Well, every time you're going to collab, you're going to learn something. Whether it's good or bad or whatever, there's growth in that.
Yeah.
You're not going to grow where everything's all safe and everything's, whatever.
Like by yourself. I mean, like always, I think writing music by yourself is like one of the most therapeutic things in the world. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think like if you're open to having another person or two or even like 5 people in the room, that's like really cool. You're able to communicate and make something that is intersectional.
The vocabulary, like learning how to communicate your sound is really important because if you can specifically name, I want these plugins, I would like this type of sound, then we're like, oh, well, we can give you that, because you speak engineer, you speak music producer.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I only speak singer, I only speak songwriter, but then
hard.
They're like, well, you're not speaking my language, so I don't know what you're talking about. So it's good to have
that
a little
knowledge.
bit. You don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a music producer, but having the lingo, you'll get more of what you want because you can communicate it. Some of the tips I give, it's like, this is some stuff that you would have heard if you went to a college classroom. Yeah. But I'm just telling you it for free.
Yeah. Or like YouTube. YouTube tutor. Yeah. I just think we have to like dismantle like the idea of like, I'm just the singer in the room. Like, no, you can be the singer. Mm-hmm. You can be the paid vocalist or just like the vocalist in the room, the top liner, but you should know like how to like have a vocal chain.
Yeah.
Or how to comp your vocals at least. So yeah. Thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, Kelly Vargas. Vargas.
Vargas. We just go.
Kelly Vargas.
Happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
I know. That's why we had Kelly Vargas, of course.
Yeah, it's like I'm Costa Rican, so shout out to the Costa Ricans, los ticos, ticas.
I'm just honorary. I'm just honorary Latino. I get invited to the cookout.
You literally, okay, so if I was to be honest, you look like Dominican or Puerto Rican.
They took my black card away, but they invited me to the Puerto Rican cookout.
Are you sure? I had like somebody tell me before that they were just half black and white too. Mm-hmm. You good.
I gotta order one of those kits.
Regardless, you're still invited. Anyone's invited to the cookout. If you love Latinos, we love you too.
There you go.
Mwah.
All right. Well, Kelly Vargas here at the Red Velvet Studios here in LA. I'm Joseph Brooks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.